Star Wars Squadrons gameplay was recently shown off on the digital EA Play presentation, and it is honestly packed with features. From customizable starfighters, single player and multiplayer game modes, a component skill trees, and even character customization. This game is definitely shaping up to be a real big seller. But today we're going into Squadrons at a different angle. Esports. Esports is a form of competition and sport that has been growing year after year. After the initial success of StarCraft 2 back in 2012, games like League of Legends, Overwatch and Fortnite have built upon that to make it a literal $1 billion market since 2019. A huge 27% increase since 2018. But there's always been one caveat. All these esports have focused on PC gaming. And today's video, I want to dive into the idea that EA's new starfighter flight simulation, Star Wars Squadrons, could completely change that notion and possibly become the next big esports title. But before I get to run through all of that, my question of the day is Star Wars Squadrons a day one purchase for you? For me, it absolutely is, and I also believe the smaller price tag is more of a Blizzard's Overwatch approach, lowering the price tag to allow a larger audience to fill the player base for this multiplayer-centric game. But that said, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I try to read all of them and get back to some of you too. And of course, if you love all things Star Wars and want more Star Wars Squadrons coverage, hit that subscribe button and ring that notification bell for more videos. So why Squadrons for esports? It's a good question. There are plenty of games with strong multiplayer modes but never actually hit the big esports scene. Besides, all the biggest esports multiplayer games are PC focused. My biggest reason for Squadrons is actually the complete opposite of that. Games like League of Legends, Overwatch, StarCraft 2 and Fortnite all share the same problem. PC gamers have an overwhelmingly large advantage over console players. So much so that gameplay balancing implementations need to be added when crossplay is involved. The way a game is played has to be changed to give console players an advantage. Minor auto aim, for example, just so they can somewhat compare to PC players. But in pro play, that skill ceiling is so high that that small advantage for game developers added is not enough. Star Wars Squadrons gameplay to me feels like it completely solves that issue. Much like how racing games are better suited for controllers rather than keyboards, I feel like a competitive flight simulation game has a much closer relationship between controller and keyboard players. Neither would have that much of an advantage over each other, meaning we could potentially see our first controller-centric shooter thanks to the accessibility the gameplay offers. That paired with the reduced price of $40 for the game sets the bar lower to allow many players to come in on day one. And whilst it's not confirmed yet, a ranking system would absolutely ignite the competitive gaming community. It would make sense to have one. 2 factions/teams warring against one another, the typical team setup for damage, tank, support and interceptor are all there as well, and a clear objective of taking the enemy's capital ship. The game is following the same approach as any MOBA would, and with the component skill tree system for your ships, it's definitely going to ignite discussions on what is the best setup for which ship on which map. And if you ask me, watching intense dogfights against the best Star Wars Squadron players definitely feels like content I would want. One of the big pulls with watching the best in esports is that you have a feeling of, I want to be that good, and honestly it's hard to beat that feeling of outplaying your opponent. Star Wars Squadrons has the clear opportunity to offer this, and it can bring a new wave of gameplay genres to the esports scene. The last couple of titles have been very FPS centric, and I wouldn't be surprised if the audience is looking for something new. But again, with the announcement of all the content coming out on day one with no plans thereafter, it feels that the developers, Motive Studios and EA are waiting to see how the game performs first before making any future plans. So whilst I feel like this could be a brilliant esports scenes for console gamers and PC gamers alike, I do feel it relies on the audience's reception to the game. Fingers crossed it's a good one. And that is where I'm going to end the video, guys. I hope you enjoy opinion pieces like these ones. Again, my question of the day for all of you is Star Wars Squadrons a day one purchase for you? Don't forget to leave your answers in the comments down below, and of course, if you want all things Star Wars Squadrons, Empire War and more, definitely hit that subscribe button and ring that notification bell. Eckhart's Ladder and I have been playing through The Last of Us Part 2, and it's a very interesting game. Gruesome too. But other than that, I have been Charlie, you've been watching X2, and I will see you in the next video. Take care.